Broadcasting live from the WTAE-TV studios in Pittsburgh, we invite you to join in our celebration of 30 years together. Brought to you in part by Price Waterhouse. By Equitable Gas, there's a new energy at Equitable. By Service Star Hardware, where the spotlight's on savings through Saturday. By Shop and Save, where you can catch Steeler fever and play to win. And by Eaton Park, where there's always something special cooking. Now, your hosts, Joe DiNardo and Ann Devlin.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening to you.
Nice to see you here this evening.
You're looking awfully dapper here.
Well, thank you. I understand we're going to a party, and when the boss says we're throwing a party, you dress up, right?
Well, there are a lot of bosses here, as a matter of fact, joining us.
And to all our viewers out there, welcome to our 30th celebration here, our 30th anniversary. And you know, in order to get on the air, it took an awful lot of effort from many, many people. And believe it or not, we have 18 out of the original 59 who put this station on the air in our audience this evening. And we'd like them to all stand, if you would. With the 30 years employees, please stand. And in addition to our 30-year employees that we're having here, Ann, we have many dignitaries in the room, many close friends, very many important people that helped Channel 4 to get to where we are today. And for these people, we are very, very thankful and eternally grateful.
And what better way to celebrate a 30th birthday? You know, an awful lot of people don't even want to admit they're having a 30th birthday. But in our case, we're going to celebrate it, and it's so wonderful to be surrounded by your friends.
It is. And we have many, many friends here, you know, and, when the very first shovel of earth was taken right underneath this very, very studio, years ago, we happen to be able to generate very many, many memories over the years. So let's try and remember together.
I can't remember when you weren't there, when I didn't care for anyone but you. I swear we've been through everything there is. Can't imagine anything we've missed. Can't imagine anything the two of us can't do. Through the years, you've never let me down. You've turned my life around. The sweetest days I've found with you. Through the years, I've never been afraid. I've loved the life we've made, and I'm so glad I stayed right here with you through the years. I can't remember what I used to do, who I trusted, who I listened to before. I swear you've taught me everything I know. Can't imagine needing someone so. But through the years it seems to me I need you more and more. Through the years, through all the good and bad, I know how much we had. I've always been so glad to be with you. Through the years, it's better every day. You've kissed my tears away. As long as
Those are good memories to look back. What really defines a station's public image often is its news coverage. Those are the folks who came into your house and come into your house every evening to tell you what's right, what's wrong with your world, and that there is going to be a new future to keep going with tomorrow. Some of the famous faces who have brought you that news coverage through the years, you're going to meet them in just a moment. We'll be right back.
Happy anniversary, Channel 4.
In the ever-changing world of personal finance, you need someone you can turn to for the right products and services. At Price Waterhouse, we're in the business of providing effective financial solutions with executive financial services that are flexible enough to help you get where you're going.
Executive financial services. Just one reason why we say expect more from Price Waterhouse.
Each day brings challenges for Equitable Gas. Today is no different. Today we'll lay vital main lines, educate 50 students, answer 530 service calls, connect 6 new business lines, maintain 2 bridge lines, satisfy 1,300 customer inquiries, give assistance to 50 families while improving your service. You may not realize it, but we're doing everything we can to keep you safe and comfortable. There's a new energy at Equitable.
Very little time. That's all you have to get this Service-Star 3/4 inch by 25-foot tape for very little money. It features a durable chrome case and a handy blade locking mechanism, and it's on sale now for just $5.99. And now's the time to stock up on General Electric soft white light bulbs. The 4-pack just $1.99. Choose 40, 60, 75, or 100 watt. But hurry, time is only on your side till Saturday. Service-Star, we can help.
Can I get a shake?
I bet I know what Sarah's getting.
Spaghetti. My usual. Can I have another straw?
Chicken looks good.
You forgot to cut the napkin.
Must be good. Everybody's quiet.
Like a little fries with your ketchup.
Dad.
Every dinner at Eaton Park comes with cozy seats,
Call that little?
warm smiles, and for whoever's buying,
Great, thanks.
a special after-dinner treat.
I could get real used to this.
Time's up, so goes the news. That's a trademark of Dave Murray. Dave Murray, the original, the first 11 o'clock p.m. anchor here in Pittsburgh when he was with the Dumont Television Network. In addition to that, at Channel 4, the first news director, and many, many more positions here in Pittsburgh. David, welcome to the celebration. It's nice to have you back. Tell us.
Okay, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. And Dave, how was it in those days?
Well, the thing that strikes me first is that how much fun it was. I'm not sure that we had any less fun than the young people in it today are having, but we were able to make our own rules as we went along. We made a lot of mistakes, but we were creating some kind of progress and doing the best we can. The audience was always very patient and very kind to us, and we had that one great advantage is in that we were all live. Our mistakes were never recorded.
Isn't that the truth? Right. David, before we go on, give us that final closing.
Our time's up, so goes the news.
That's it. That's our Dave Murray, right. And you know, you want to talk about longevity. We have longevity. Do we have longevity? I'd like to introduce you to this next gentleman, the Dean of the Anchor in Pittsburgh, Paul Long.
That's the first time anybody has called me a gentleman here.
Oh, no, we've called you a gentleman on several occasions. I can recall both.
You had your fingers crossed.
Right.
Did you notice that Dave Murray still looks like a teenager? That face of his, you'd think he's about, 30.
That's from Mimi's Chocolate Cake.
That's from Mimi's Chocolate Cake.
That's right.
He looks like he did in 1951 when he started.
Paul, how's it gone for us over the years?
Well, you don't look quite as good as you did in 1951.
Paul, this is not a DiNardo roast. I just want to know, tell me something about your reflections through the years here.
Oh, it's been nice in many ways, and it's been a little turbulent in some ways. but I don't think it could be any better if you tried to sit down and design a lifestyle around television. As Dave was saying, we didn't know anything about television in the early days, neither did anybody else.
I thought you were an authority on everything.
We just, well, you...
We'll show you how much of an authority this man was. From 4-Star News in 1958 to Action News in 1988.
4-Star News?
Through the years. Let's take a look.
My gosh. News and Views with John B. Hughes. John was our first anchor.
My position is that
He and news director Herb Morrison were working with black and white film in those days. This interview was with the vice president. Ike was the president, Dwight David Eisenhower. Pittsburgh liked Ike. Many who cheered were former GIs who had served under him in Europe.
Very optimistic, I think.
Davy Lawrence was mayor, soon to move to Harrisburg as governor. But in those days, still forging the city's first renaissance. Police were busy with a mini-war on Chicken Hill in the West End. Jim Slusser was one of the good guys. Carl Ide and Dave Murray were doing our early and late news.
And don't worry,
George Thomas was bossing the newsroom.
what this map is all
We were covering a bitter steel strike with Union President Dave MacDonald vowing that the Union would never quit. Soviet Premier Khrushchev came to town, and security was never tighter. Joe Barr moved into the mayor's office. We met the young senator from Massachusetts who came to ask for our votes. And Richard Nixon on the same mission. It was close, but when the votes were counted, we welcomed JFK back as president, a presidency that would end in tragedy in Dallas in a similar motorcade. We welcomed a new bishop who would become a cardinal.
We learned to do the twist, and we shivered as Gus Brickner greeted 1961 with his annual New Year's Day dip in the Mon. We covered stories of courage and survival and sacrifice and dedication. The mine disasters that struck in that rich seam from Robina to Farmington, where, in a tradition as old as Appalachian coal, family and friends maintain their vigil until loved ones are rescued or bodies are brought out. The clock ticked. LBJ, the man who took over the Oval Office, came back to see us. We met a bright young governor who turned down chance after chance at further elective office to be with his family. And we met the guy campaigning to become the state's first two-term governor. Look at the haircut. We saw the changing of the guard at the United Steelworkers Union as I.W. Abel took up the helm.
We were concerned with soaring crime rate. There's former Assistant Police Superintendent Lawrence Maloney leading a search for a suspect in Homewood Cemetery. We searched in vain for ways to help relieve the growing congestion on our highways. Look at those old gas guzzlers. We agonized over our image as a strike-happy town and the fight over prayer in the public schools. We listened as William Steinberg built the Pittsburgh Symphony into one of the world's great orchestras. We experienced the pain and progress of urban renewal. Watched rather helplessly the deterioration of our mass transit system. Unveiled a revolutionary new people mover, Skybus, at the Allegheny County Fair. It turned out we were really window shopping.
The bridge to nowhere, and it was just that to one motorist who tried to drive across. Luckily, he survived. In the middle 60s, you were watching Dick Ford, Alan Bowl, Eleanor Shano, and Bob Harper. We went to color, and it gave us a chance to show off. But the news was turning sour, especially dispatches from Vietnam. We saw Pittsburgh's black community rise in anger, shed a nostalgic tear as the trains mostly stopped running. Met the mayor, who liked to be called Pete, then Repeat. And Ben Anulik, Pittsburgh's first heart transplant patient.
We ushered in the decade of the 70s, reporting on the brutal murders of Jock Jablonski, his wife and daughter at their Washington County home.
Agnes
Took to high ground as Hurricane Agnes spawned the torrential rains of a major flood.
Eastern Seaboard.
Had a Duke, no more, as the city lost another major brewery.
Some doubt about whether Mr.
We were shocked at the indictment and apparent suicide of District Attorney Robert Dugan. We watched the start of a new fountain at the Point. And with witness the phenomenon of the streaker. We met a gentleman from Georgia who came to town on his way to the White House and celebrated the nation's 200th birthday.
Eventually wind up.
Ed Mullen took us on a bicentennial wagon train ride. There was the raging fire in McKeesport that destroyed much of the business district. The war for control of massage parlors erupted in a deadly bomb blast.
We got to know a county commissioner who taught us the meaning of vision, and a new mayor who launched the city's second renaissance, saw the Brady Street Bridge come tumbling down, and saw the first Volkswagen Rabbit roll off the assembly line in New Stanton.
And then in the 80s, the last one rolled off the line. We watched steel mills fade into history. The country's first woman vice presidential nominee, Geraldine Ferraro, visited the city. Everyone cheered for two of our littlest heroes, Ronnie DeSillers and Tabitha Foster. When they died following organ transplant operations, we deeply felt the loss. Today, Ronnie's mother continues to make her way into national headlines. While we look to the end of another decade, we also look back with pride at the progress of Renaissance 2. We still feel the presence of one Richard Caligiuri, who brought us so far, and we look to a new mayor, Sophie Masloff, to carry on his special legacy and to leave her own mark on Pittsburgh, the nation's #1 livable city.
Where three rivers flow and everywhere, we're always there. Action News is everywhere, everywhere.
And who puts the action in Action News? Those sports guys. And in a moment, we are going to get stories from their locker room. There they are, Bill and Stan, coming up in just a moment.
Happy third anniversary of Channel 4. Buon anniversario, Canale 4.
This week at Shop and Save, win big with savings on gold medal flour, 79 cents for 5 pounds. Hagen ice cream at tasty $2.39 for half-gallon rounds. And Maxwell House coffee, $2.49 for 13 ounces. And you, too, can win big with Steeler Fever. Shop and Save's $500,000 prize giveaway. Pick up your game card and play to win lots of prizes like cash, cars, free groceries, and more.
Catch Steeler Fever at Shop and Save.
All work and no play. Play new instant slots from the Pennsylvania Lottery. All you have to do is ring up 3 of the same symbols in a row, and you could win up to $1,000 instantly, or a free ticket that could win you up to $1 million on the Saturday spin. New instant slots. Why, the whole gang will love it. Play new instant slots from the Pennsylvania Lottery. Does this sound like fun, or what?
You're right now, you're today, doing everything in a smart way.
I love to shop, and when those shops call, well, you know I've got to answer.
Don't settle for part of it. Rough or small, get to the heart of it.
Those shops are so wonderful. Little values tucked away in every corner.
You're looking for more than you can find in anyone's store. Rough or small, get to the heart of it.
It's hard to tell the difference between Heinz Homestyle gravy and your homemade.
You can't fool my Theodore.
We made it with real beef and beef juices, just the way you do.
He's a very discerning child.
We even seasoned and simmered and stirred it till it was like your own homemade.
Nothing's quite like Grandma's. Right, Theodore?
Yeah, this doesn't have any lumps.
Heinz Homestyle gravy, so close to homemade.
What do kids know?
Hometown stations cover the hometown teams and an awful lot more, and it goes beyond just the bare stats. You want to know what goes on behind the scenes, what goes on in the players' locker rooms, what goes on in our locker rooms. Bill Hillgrove, Stan Savran, joining us this evening. Bill, what's it been like through the years as a sports reporter and anchor here?
Well, through the years, we've always informed. We've informed the public. But in 1979, it was my privilege to inform a player as to what was happening. 1979 World Series, Pittsburgh is down to Baltimore 3-1. and it's at Three Rivers, and things look like they're bleak and it's all over. And we rush to Chuck Tanner to get his post-game news conference, and he says a bunch of things about the game, and then suddenly he says, I think if we turn him around and throw the left-hander at him in Game 5, we might get the thing turned around. I go, ooh, left-hander. I pull the mic out, run down the hallway, stick the mic in Jim Rooker's face and say, you're starting Game 5 of the World Series. He said, who told you that? I said, no higher authority than the manager. He said, you're kidding me. I'm starting tomorrow? Yep, you're it. And I informed Jim Rooker that he was going to start Game 5, and that turned the whole series around, and Pittsburgh won 4-3. So we inform more than the public.
Boy, you're not kidding. Is that part of the rush? That is a great story. Is that part of the rush that you are right there in the intimacy of those situations with the athletes that so many people idolize?
Not really, because I consider myself the manager anyway, so I would have told Rooker he was starting and then told Tanner. That's the way I would have handled it. They didn't even give Billy a World Series ring. That's what made me angry about it. And the thing that strikes me the most about sports coverage is that when I got hired here in 1980, 8 years ago this month, we were the first three-man sports team in the city, and everybody in town said, look what they're doing, what's going on, because there was Bill and at that time John Steigerwald, and they hired me. Everybody else had only 2 people. Now everybody has at least 4, and that started kind of the explosion, keep up with the Joneses. And the only reason I came here was because when I did, I knew I'd be the tallest guy with Billy and Cope and Steigerwald. It's the only reason that I wanted to come here. What also strikes me is that when I came here, I was low man on the totem pole. I'm still very low, I might add, but at least not on the totem pole. I'm second in seniority. Of course, when Billy's concerned, Graham McNamee would be second in seniority as far as that's concerned. But
what's that, Sonny?
Yeah, glad you got your teeth in. But the explosion of personnel and the amount of events and the scope of coverage we have to do now, it necessitates that many people.
Well, somehow I sense that Bill Hillgrove wasn't your idol. Tell me who was when you started out.
Well, now he is, but before I knew him, Ray Scott, I think anyone my age, even at that advanced age, you know, star to dollar, touchdown, that's all he would say. And I got a chance to meet him 3 years ago. The Steelers were playing the Cardinals in St. Louis. I was doing the game for the Steeler TV network. He was doing the game for the St. Louis radio network. And I got a chance to meet my idol.
Well, he was our first sports director, and though he could not be with us this evening, through the magic of videotape, he is joining us with a message for us this evening. And also, we're going to take a little bit of a look back to 1959 with him as well.
1959 season.
Well, I think Ray, we're a little stronger this year than we were the last. For instance, we have George Witt, who will be with us all year this year, who wasn't last year. And our pitching is strong all the way around. I'd say it's about the best in both leagues.
Bill Verdon, last year at this time when we talked about the Pirates, we automatically used the word if quite often. Do you think this ball club has reached the point where it could be described as a balanced or solid ball club?
I definitely think it is a balanced ball club with a chance to win a pennant, Ray.
Bob, do you think this is a ball club that could win the pennant this year?
I sure hope so, Ray. I think we got a good chance. We got a good defense. I think we are one of the best pitching staff in the league.
Bob, I sure hope you're right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Roberto Clemente.
The memories just come flooding back. I'd like to say what I said at a farewell luncheon when I left Pittsburgh. Were it not for the opportunity to do Major League Baseball, I never would have left Pittsburgh and might still be with Channel 4, even at these many years later. As to what I'm doing now, I'm with the ABC television station in Phoenix, involved with the televising of ASU basketball and Arizona State football, also involved with the 6 o'clock sports report Monday through Friday. I am involved this year, as they say, with another network, televising some NFL football for NBC. I'm happy to say that my syndicated radio show, Computer Kickoff, is on your radio sister station, WTAE, and I have a lot of fun with that. Pittsburgh is still my favorite city. I don't mind saying that. I still have family in the area. My sister Virginia and her husband Henry Poyser are in Connellsville, and my mother is in a treatment center at Uniontown, Pennsylvania, just celebrated her 95th birthday. So all in all, I say to those at Channel 4, it was a great place when I was there, and everybody tells me it's still a great place to work and a great place for viewers. Thank you.
Scott, sports headlines. I just asked these two fellows if they could pick the top sports headline, the biggest story they've ever covered, and they were so vexed because they couldn't come up with one single one. So let's take a look at a whole bunch of them. sports headlines through the years.
It wasn't long after WTAE's first year on the air until the Pittsburgh Pirates provided our sports department with a major story. In the memorable 1960 World Series against the New York Yankees, the Pirates were out-hit and outscored. Yet they somehow stayed close enough to give Bill Mazeroski a chance to hit one of history's most unforgettable home runs. It wasn't until 1971 that the Bucks were able to do it again. This time, they were led by a different hero.
In the left center field, it is going, it is gone. Bobby Clemente continues to totally annihilate Baltimore pitching.
In Clemente's final year, 1972, the Pirates made another run at the World Series, only to be stopped by the Big Red Machine. In another bid for the division title in '79, the Bucks beat the Reds. The World Series began in snowy, cold Baltimore, and 3 local sportscasters were there, appropriately attired in bathing suits. The Pirates started out cold, too, when they fell behind 3-1. But the Bucko Bats got hot, and they made a dramatic comeback to take the series their 3rd World Championship. The 1988 edition of the Pirates were a contender, surprisingly. The first time in 5 years that Pittsburgh's baseball season went past Labor Day.
It'll be the biggest event in the history of the whole planet Earth, all because of me.
Boxing has always been big in Pittsburgh. The then Cassius Clay fought here in 1963. Knocked out a guy named Charlie Powell in the 3rd round at the Civic Arena. And Larry Holmes fought Ronaldo Snipes at the arena in 1981. And the brawl in the ring after the fight was almost as good as the fight itself.
How often have you played?
And the Channel 4 sports department was there from the ground floor when the building of Arnie's Army began to take place. Golfing great Arnold Palmer, a native of nearby Latrobe, gave his sport the shot in the arm it needed to be elevated to a sport of major importance.
Particularly well on.
Basketball never took off here on the pro level, but it's always enjoyed an enthusiastic following on the college level. And that's because of names like Cy Hugo Green, Willie Somerset, Billy Knights, and Norm Nixon. This past year, 2 other great players, NBA first-round picks Charles Smith and Jerome Lane, led Pitt to its first ever Big East regular season championship. Since the inception of the Civic Arena, Pittsburgh hockey teams in the early 60s, like the Hornets, had a major league theater to show their stuff. The Penguins played their first game in October of 1967. They sure picked some home opener, the world champion Montreal Canadiens. The Pens lost that first game 2-1. Years of frustration began to brighten when the Pens got the first pick in the '84 drafts and selected 18-year-old Mario Lemieux. While the playoffs still elude the Pens, Lemieux gives Pittsburgh hockey fans the promise of individual greatness and team success. In the football arena in the 60s, what the Steelers lacked in wins, the Pitt Panthers well made up for it. In '63, the Panthers went 9-1, but weren't invited to a bowl game. A downer for the rest of the 60s. Pitt thought about de-emphasizing football, and in 1972, after a humiliating season, they fired Coach Carl DePasqua. But things turned around with the arrival of a young coach from Tennessee who had big plans for Pitt. The plans panned out immediately because in '73, Pitt won. They went 6-5-1. The Major's choice of recruits had something to do with it, especially this one, an undersized freshman running back named Tony Dorsett.
Has the potential to be a national power, and before I leave here, I'm going to do my best what I could do to make this thing happen.
Hey, if you could run like this, you'd be talking national championship too, and that's just what happened. Johnny Majors engineered the greatest single turnaround in college football history. In 4 years, Pitt went from 1-10 to the national championship. Winning must have been in the air because while Pitt made an amazing turnaround in the '70s, it was overshadowed by the turnaround by the Steelers. To give you an idea how long these guys have been around, when they started, this fellow had black hair. To give you an idea how long before these guys won, listen to the kinds of questions reporters like the late Ed Conway used to ask this man.
In recent years, attendance at Steeler games has fallen off at an alarming rate. As a matter of fact, in the 14-club circuit last year, the Steelers were as low as 13th in attendance. What do you feel is the basic reason for this? Well, then I wished I could answer that question. It has a...
Things began to look up with the appearance of Chuck Noll in 1969. He began to use the draft to build a winning team. Noll's success at first-round picks was phenomenal, and the Steelers made their first pick in the NFL draft in 1970 when Noll made perhaps the smartest pick of all. A raw quarterback from Louisiana Tech who had no qualms about being picked by a 1-13 team.
Being drafted in the first round was, to me, would have been a great honor, and gosh, being the first player drafted is just something that's hard to believe in.
But they needed another element to make them big winners. Noll found it in Franco Harris.
I'm looking forward, I'm going in there really to, establish myself and to get a job.
Franco made a big impact as a rookie, gaining over 1,000 yards in only 9 games as the Steelers went 11-3 and made it to the playoffs for the first time in 40 years. The best was yet to come, because not only was Franco a great runner, he also had a great sense for the dramatic. The Steelers were losing to the Raiders 7-6. It was 4th down, and there were only 22 seconds left. Need I say more?
And Bradshaw back and looking again. Bradshaw running out of the pocket, looking for somebody to throw to, fires it downfield. And there's a collision. It's caught out of the air. The ball is pulled in by Franco Harris. Harris is going for a touchdown for Pittsburgh.
It was this magical moment that catapulted the Steelers into their Super Bowl era and Pittsburgh into the decade of champions. However, the Steelers and their fans lost a leader, and the city of Pittsburgh lost a friend with the passing of Arthur J. Rooney, the team's founder. The Black and Gold entered the '88 season with their hopes for a winning year tempered by a great loss.
That was really great. And coming up, we're going to have more of our 30th anniversary. Stay with us.
Being high-tech doesn't just mean rolling out the latest computer software. You have to be on the leading edge in finance, operations, and information systems. At Price Waterhouse, our high-tech services group can help you link all your departments together to help you stay out in front and on the right track.
High-tech services. Just one reason why we say, expect more from Price Waterhouse.
Now, you can win $10,000 in cold cash in the Pepsi Hometown Payday. Pick up a specially marked bottle of any Pepsi-Cola product and twist off the cap. Instantly win up to $10,000, free groceries or Pepsi and fries at Burger King. But don't keep the winnings bottled up. There are over $200,000 just waiting to be uncapped in Western Pennsylvania's Pepsi Hometown Payday, where winning is as close as an ice-cold bottle of Pepsi.
If you select prime cured lumber, shape it precisely, carve it intricately, join it perfectly, and finish it in 18 painstaking steps, you'll have beautiful Thomasville furniture. And that's what you'll see in every style at the Thomasville Gallery. Beautiful furniture, beautifully made. For a limited time, fine quality Thomasville furniture is on sale at Quality Furniture in Monroeville and Quality Furniture in Wexford.
Each day brings challenges for Equitable Gas. Today is no different. Today we'll lay vital main lines, educate 50 students, answer 530 service calls, connect 6 new business lines, maintain 2 bridge lines, satisfy 1,300 customer inquiries, give assistance to 50 families while improving your service. You may not realize it, but we're doing everything we can to keep you safe and comfortable. There's a new energy at Equitable.
And let your cares go by.
Hank Stoll was an unusual composite of comedic talent and style, kind of a forerunner of today's David Letterman. He anchored this live morning show in 1960 and 61. David Krantz, with a C, helped to write much of the show. And Joe Negri still plays guitar and uses many of the same notes he used 18 years ago. Ricky won't be seen. She was on the phone.
That was nice. Thank you, Hank. What do you call that song? Come Fly With Me. What is that from? Why?
Well, it was written for Frank Sinatra for one of his albums, Come Fly With Me.
I see. I was just thinking, today concludes the 45th week on television.
Yeah, 45th
and
week.
In conclusion, we're concluding this our last day, so to speak.
Yeah, we're coming.
What do you want from Charlie Fang? Huh?
We are going to hypnotize Charlie Fangs, your son number one, because he is very strong-willed. Now, go ahead, say to Father. Father, you are under.
Father, you are under.
You don't have to speak Chinese so much, just repeat. In native tongue, Italian.
Pop, you're under.
That, keep getting him under.
I'd feel this way, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm glad I've got a chance to say that I do believe I love you, and if I should ever go away, well then close your eyes and try to feel the way we do today, and then if you can remember, keep smiling, keep shining, knowing you can always count on me for sure. That's what friends are for the good times and the bad times. I'll be on your side forevermore.
So when I say my name, give me a great big chord. Okay. Hank Stoll.
And like for me, too, Dave Krantz. And Joe Negri.
How come you took so long with your name?
What's my guitar?
Oh.
Well, I guess you could call that three wild guys who did live TV, and here they are. To my right, Joe Negri. Joe, good to have you with us.
It's great to be here.
Thank you. Hank Stoll.
Yes.
Henry, how are you?
Glad to be here.
Father of Rodney and Knish. And there we go, David Krantz with a C, I remember.
That's correct, absolutely.
Well, it's nice to have you back. You're in New York.
I'm in New York, right. New York City, where yes, I am. Excuse me. I'm flabbergasted by that. Where did they get all this stuff?
Yeah.
There was a guy in this in our engineering department, I think, by the name of Merle Edgar, who had all these tapes, and he wanted it. It's available. It's available $2 a foot.
It is?
Yeah. What was it like, Hank?
What was it like? It was fun. It was glorious. It was marvelous. We invented, we did, we flunk up, we did stuff.
We were talking about one time, we could say the last time we ever sat together in tuxedos was on that morning show. We decided one morning that people that watched that show had to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to see it and be moving, so we decided for the few people, never go to nightclubs. You have to get up too early. So we got 3 tuxedos and did a nightclub show. For the people, they say, and at 9:30 in the morning, now we're through. Stoll said, as long as we're dressed, why don't we go out and see if we can get lucky?
Yeah.
You're not going to continue that one.
No, I'm not going to continue it. Except, I have to say this. I mean, Dave, Joe, and you, Joe, and myself, this happens once every 30 years. It's ridiculous. We should meet like once a year, do a thing. Like
we always try to get together. We never get. Why don't you come over to my house for Halloween?
I can't for Halloween. No, how about? No, how about Thanksgiving? How about,
No, not really Thanksgiving, because that's really a big family day with us, and my kids come home. I can't do a Thanksgiving.
Okay, we should get together more than this.
Maybe over the holidays, Christmas.
How about Christmas?
Yeah,
I can't Christmas because I have to go to Connecticut and to Florida both. But
I have an idea. Why don't we get together like for New Year's Eve?
I can't because I
Here we go.
This deer season.
No, I'm down at Heinz Hall. I've got a big job down there with a big band. I can't do that.
What if I can get the boss to foot the tab? Can we all get together?
Maybe Arbor Day. Hey, that's a good day. I mean, that's nondescript highway. We can all go someplace.
I'll tell you what I think we ought to do. Why don't I see you about 30 years from now?
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
Same place, right here.
Same place?
Tuxedos?
Jim, you going to finish that, Joe?
Well, that's live. That's live television. So what we're boiling down to is this. That's just a part of live television. Also, back in those days, we had live commercials, and the commercials lasted as long as the talent thought they should last. So if somebody bought 30 seconds, they may have wound up with a minute and a half. And right now, we're going to show you some of these live commercials. Keep it, and here it comes right now.
Your scalp begins to itch. You itch and itch and itch. Get rid of your itch. It's a tormenting and embarrassing condition that calls for an actual medication. Get medicated Jot dandruff prescription to get rid of unsightly dandruff scales. Jot's only $2 and really worth it because it's a medication.
Hey, I used to shop in the Caballeros department at King's Men's Store back in the 60s. It was definitely the one-stop shop for swingers.
This is the one-button Caballero suit, combining the dash and sweep of South American fashions with King's own flair for the unusual. The one-button Caballero is a masterful creation designed exclusively by King's. The instant you put on a graceful Caballero, automatically your shoulders begin to widen and your hips start slimming down. Skillfully tailored, the subtle drape of King's Caballero will flatter you as no other garment ever can. In keeping with the magnificent lines of the Caballero, 8 vivid colors complement the unusual weaves and distinctive fabrics. King's dreamed the Caballero, King's made it, and only King's have it.
Hey, I thought this was a fight picture. What's going on here?
I don't know what's going on, but I'm getting off.
Reach Cordick was quite the TV salesman in the 60s. Here he teams up with Carl Ide, who probably sold more Serta mattresses than Joey Heatherton. Yes, they hauled a live horse in the studio for this commercial.
I hate cowboy pictures. Don't get rough with me or I'll tear this place apart. There won't be nothing left. No lumps, no humps, no bumps, no buttons, no nothing. Me and Bertha and my horse here came over mountain and plain, over mesa and schmesa, over river and valley, just to get her a sort of perfect sleeper mattress. Bertha.
Now for a little Mr. Ed imitation.
Bertha, is this the mattress you want? Well, answer me. You like that?
I love that. Serta perfect sleeper.
All right. Then this is the one we're going to take. We're going to take this mattress here, then I'm going to go out and hold up a bank, rustle a few dozen cattle, rob a stagecoach, and kill a couple of TV announcers. But before I do that, I'm going to sing you a little song. Hand me my gift box there, Waddy, would you?
You'll note that there was little regard for time when doing a commercial. The commercial was over when the actors said it was over.
May seem dark and dreary. My life is so empty. I get so darn weary. The only friend I got is my old horse, Bertha. For her, give me a mattress with the trademark Serta.
For the Thompson Laundry and Dry Cleaning, everyone knows that champion is champion.
Bob Troe was a master at performing live and unrehearsed commercials, though he wasn't too hot in the ring.
Do you agree that champion does the very finest dry cleaning? John, all I want is your... Do you agree that champion does the very finest laundry?
Don't you want to give me your autograph, John?
And would you say that no one does up dress shirts like champion?
Now, look, just a minute. Oh, yes?
John! Now tell me, who is Thompson Laundry and Dry Cleaning?
Champion! Champion!
Winner and still champion since 1936, Champion Laundry.
those sponsors never knew how much commercial they were getting, but I'm not sure they knew exactly what they were getting, because there's always a lot of questions that go along with live television, a lot of variables. But tonight we have found a 1988 one brave new sponsor, Service-Star, who has agreed to try a TV experiment now. And what you're seeing right now in our studio next door is the setup for a live commercial that we are going to do for Service-Star. And you see them getting the cameras in place. The studio lights aren't even up yet. Oh, the products are there on the table. And that fellow there in the tux, I believe that's Larry Richards. And he is getting ready to tell you all about Service-Star. And we've told him he has 30 seconds. So we are going to go to him. Ladies and gentlemen, now we want to introduce you to Service-Star in 2, 1. Take it, Larry.
This week at Service-Star, the Spotlight's on savings through Saturday. The Spotlight's on this Service-Star 3/4 inch by 25-foot tape roll on sale for just $5.99. The price is light on GE soft white light bulbs. The 4-pack just $1.99. Even a quick-set Tylo brass entry lock set is a low $7.49 through Saturday. So if you're looking for quality and value, check your yellow pages for the Service-Star hardware, lumber, or home center dealer near you. But hurry before the Spotlight on the savings sale runs out. 30 years together is brought to you in part by Giant Eagle, where absolute minimum pricing means you get the lowest total food bill every day. And by Ross Park Mall. Get to the heart of it. Fine shopping fashion. By Pepsi, the choice of the new generation. By Dream Waterbeds, the sleep professionals. Save big during the last week of their fabulous furniture sale. And by Scuro Transmissions. We know what we're doing, and we're honest.
Just a few months after WTAE was born, its first talk show took its first steps. For 9 years, the Gene Connolly Show treated viewers to close-up interviews with celebrities.
And 1 and a 2, and Mr. Lawrence Welk, the maestro of the champagne music, a name that originated right here in Pittsburgh some years ago.
Right, Gene.
Nice to have you with us.
Thank you very much. It's a real pleasure to be invited to your very popular show.
You know, this isn't the Henry Mancini we know.
It's written by...
I told you, too, when I saw you last night, Al Clipper was going great guns in that basketball tournament.
Yes, they got all the way up to the top.
Good morning, Pittsburgh. It's AM Pittsburgh time.
In the mid-70s, 3 personalities warmed up the weekdays with a live show called AM Pittsburgh. For 9 more years, Kathy Milton, Lynn Hines, and Al McDowell kept us in tune with the times.
Sammy Davis Jr., there he is. Welcome aboard this morning. You got up early to be here with us after a fabulous show last night.
Well, you're very kind to say that, but...
Gonna get you up, help you on your way. The Channel 4 is gonna be a great day. Good morning, Pittsburgh. It's time for AM Pittsburgh. Good morning, Pittsburgh.
Good morning, I'm Ann Devlin, and today Pittsburgh is talking about AIDS in the classroom.
Today, it's Pittsburgh's Talking, a live morning show with Ann Devlin, who interviews guests and involves her studio audience, too.
We hope you enjoy looking back at some of these clips from the shows that have come before Pittsburgh's Talking. And as I sit here with Gene Connolly and with Kathy Milton, they haven't seen these clips in a very long time either, and they're sitting here a bit speechless.
Indeed, which happens very seldom.
Especially the talk show host, that's right. What about the perils of live TV? We saw it happen in the commercials where the horse didn't want to do what they wanted it to do. What happened to you? What's the funniest thing you remember?
Well, there's so many of them, Ann, but the one story that comes to mind, and I like to tell this one because it involves so many of the people here who worked with us at that time.
They're all getting nervous now,
yes,
you know.
Yes. We had a recipe submitted for a fail-proof cake that you did on the top of the stove, which would be a good idea to take on a boat or camping or something like that. You did it in a skillet. I was no cook. usually our guests did the authoritative things. But I thought, if it's fail-proof, I can do it. So I was going to bake the cake. Well, you can know what happened. It was as flat as a pancake. It was dreadful. Well, we decided, in my embarrassment, that if this was going to work out right, we'd better do it again. So we baked it again the next day. And it failed again. The third day, it failed again. But meanwhile, people are telephoning. They're sending postcards. Try this, less baking soda, cook it longer, do this, stir it more. Everyone got into the act. Everybody, instead of laughing at me, everyone was helping, except our crew. Because at this point, Lou Snodgrass in audio was playing sound effects. Our director, Tom Borden, was doing big exclamation points spread. But the seventh day, the sound effects, the bells rang, the fireworks went off. The cake was a success, finally.
Yay! And of course, you moved on to management here at the station, becoming the Director of Public Affairs. You made the transition so well. And we have another woman who's with us now, as I said before, Kathy Milton, who's still recovering from looking at her clips as well.
And I love them, every one of them. It's so nice to relive it all again.
And the moment you wouldn't want to relive?
Oh, I'll never forget the snake. The snake. I am deathly afraid of snakes. And when Lynn Hines and Al McDowell didn't want to do anything, guess who did it? So I'm sitting there interviewing this fellow with this big snake python wrapped around his neck. And they said before I went on, if you touch him, you know, you'll get familiar with him. But under these, well, he was very docile because it was cold early in the morning. But then as we sat under the lights, this thing became very active. And he's coiled around this fellow, and I'm interviewing him. And he discovers me. And suddenly he comes this way, and I go this way. He comes this way, and I go this way. And everyone in the studio was watching to see how long is she going to stay there. And then finally I just said, ah! I'll never forget that. And then there's one more. They said, watch the time, but I have to tell you this. I introduced the AM Pittsburgh show. We were doing something for Boyce Park. It was for skiing. We were all outside, standing right outside the studio in the snow with skis on. And they said, stand like this and you'll stand stock still. And I said, good morning, everyone. Welcome to AM Pittsburgh, and we're going to teach you how to. And the skis went out from under me, and suddenly there was no one there.
You've told me everything I need to avoid now. We're coming right back in just a moment with a lot more.
How to build a better hamburger. First, banish the bun. Then take away the tomato. Pick up your pickles. Cut out the condiments. And finally, leave the lettuce behind. Because when you get down to the meat of it, it's the meat that makes the burger. Introducing new Butcher's Premium Ground. It's not just the same old grind. Ground fresh all day, only at Giant Eagle. Nothing else comes close.
You're right now, you're today, doing everything in a smart way.
I love to shop, and when those shops call, well, you know I've got to answer.
Don't settle for part of it. Prospect Mall, get to the heart of it.
Those shops are so wonderful, little values tucked away in every corner.
You're looking for more than you can find in anyone's store. Prospect Mall, get to the heart of it.
Now, you can win $10,000 in cold cash in the Pepsi Hometown Payday. Pick up a specially marked bottle of any Pepsi-Cola product and twist off the cap. Instantly win up to $10,000, free groceries or Pepsi and fries at Burger King. But don't keep the winnings bottled up. There are over $200,000 just waiting to be uncapped in Western Pennsylvania's Pepsi Hometown Payday, where winning is as close as an ice-cold bottle of Pepsi.
Blast off to savings during Dream Waterbed's fabulous furniture sale. Save on the West Ridge Bed and Bedroom Suite, only $977. And the Hickory Valley Poster Bed and Suite, just $10.99. The Portofino Black Lacquer Bed and Suite is now just $12.99. Save over 25% on fabulous furniture at all 14 Dream Waterbeds locations. The values are out of this world.
right. We are back at, you might say, the anchor desk, or the news desk, and we have our anchor talent here with us this evening. First of all, let me say Adam Lynch is on vacation, but we do have with us Sally Wiggin, who has been here about 8.5 years.
8.5 years.
Don Cannon, you're going on about the 20th like I am, is right?
19 and holding, yes.
19 and holding. All right. Let's have some of the stories. We've got some real good ones, I'm sure, coming out of this table.
We could do, as you know, 30 years of Paul Long stories.
No question about it.
This is only an hour-and-a-half show. My favorite occurred in the news studio, Studio B across the hall, when the Paul Shannon Adventure Time program was on. We had bleachers in which the Adventure Time children sat during the program. But during the 6 o'clock news, which in those days was only a half an hour, the bleachers were empty, and we never closed on a group shot as we do today. We closed on a single shot, and I usually said good night. And this particular night, Paul Long took good night literally, because at 6:25 during the program, he left the set to rest in the Adventure Time bleachers, and by 6:30, he was sound asleep.
Right.
So when I said good night, he really took it literally.
Right. And 2.5 hours later, he woke up. We were in the studio, and he says, "Why didn't you wake me?" Right. Sally?
My first memory of coming here about 8.5 years ago, a couple of months after I came, they asked me to do a series on runaways, and so I didn't know anything about Liberty Avenue, and they took me down to Liberty Avenue. The crew and Jim Barry and Spencer Simon, and I had a wireless mic, and I wanted to blend in with the scenery, so I had stacked heels and snug pants on, and so they're across the street with a camera, and the police officer couldn't see them, and I'm stopping young men and asking them if they're runaways, and an officer starts approaching me that I don't see. Obviously, he thought I belonged down there and was a lady of the evening.
Oh,
so that's my first memory of being here.
Real quick, though, one night I went out, it was snowing, watched Cannon take all the snow off of my car, and when he was finished, I said, "How much do I owe you?" He says, "What do you mean?" I said, "That's my car." Oh, after that, forget it. He wouldn't even take anything. But, you know, here in the industry, we talk a lot about high technology. And we had the first... Oh, that's right. All right, we talk about this high technology, and you also talk about newsrooms and all the high tech in there. Well, Lynn Cullen's going to give us an inside look at the newsroom.
I know it says private here, but come on in anyway. This is the dressing and bathroom area for the women who work at Channel 4. Now, I bring you in here because, believe it or not, this is where I do most of my work, my writing, my thinking, my producing. Right here, in fact. Now, the reason I work in here rather than in the newsroom with the other reporters is that because even though I've been in this business for some 15 years, I still cannot comprehend how anyone in their right mind can think in a newsroom. And to prove my point, I stationed a photographer in the newsroom for a few hours a few weeks ago to give you just a glimpse of the real broadcast news.
Sally. So we go from Adam's Quantel to Sally's Quantel intro. Yvonne on a tight shuttle intros a package.
Instead of going Quantel to Quantel, let's go Adam, then Sally, then Yvonne Quantel.
You need Sally tight there?
There's something about that that doesn't sound right.
A head full screen, special full screen, and a Rooney full screen news.
The news is that the newsroom is in a constant state of confined creative chaos. And although at times we sit isolated, staring into our computer screens, trying to compose our thoughts, trying to compose our stories, talking at times to no one in particular, the bare facts of this business are that none of it would ever work if we didn't always work together.
How can they not allow you down there?
Where did you get the information about the entrapment?
8 to 10 injuries to this life flights on the scene, ambulance is on the scene. 1 second.
If they're allowing everybody else to go in, I can't understand how they can stop a reporter.
That doesn't make sense to me at all.
How long ago did this happen?
Less than an hour.
I think we should go.
Since there's so many dissolves in it, might make sense to dissolve in and out.
Trace, the VO is in.
We can get the reaction stuff ourselves and then hopefully get the earlier stuff on a
That's what I think we should do. Maybe we should take news stories.
You made rib off the kicker.
See, I could flip-flop that, but it's not like the sudden death kind of a thing.
Appearances to the contrary, heads up is the name of the game. Whether we're on the road or in the air, we must always keep in constant communication with the newsroom.
My cue to hit the soundbite will be standing on solid ground. We roll the bite. You want the out cue of the bite?
868 to Beth, I lost you.
I'm 4 minutes over. I'm a dead man.
Okay, let me find out about that right now for you. Okay, I need to know about the Kathy Milton package so I can tell Beth.
Jump in at 21.
Let's hope this works.
The amazing thing is it does work most of the time, despite the ever-present pressure of daily deadlines, despite the constant demands of the news and the newsmakers.
Now don't get too close.
Somehow it gets off the ground and onto the air, and somehow it gets from the bathroom to the newsroom to your living room 365 days a year.
Take sound in. How long is this? How much? 6. Lose it. Ready, Sally's mic. Mic take cue.
How fitting, really, that we call it
Action News.
And believe it or not, it works. It gets on the air. And here's something else that we use in the newsroom. High Tech, our News Star 4 satellite truck. And Ann Devlin's outside in the parking lot. Going to give you a tour. Ann?
Well, actually, we're right behind the scenery right now. 30 years ago, when we started with the news, we actually shot black and white film. Then 10 years after that, we went to color. And now, to show you how far it's gone, while the cameras keep getting smaller, well, we do buy some bigger, they quaintly call them news toys, but boy, are they expensive. These are the devices that help bring home to you the news that is happening across the country and even in your neighborhood. Where you have seen big news events, this truck has rolled right up. This is News Star, and inside here we have Marlon and we have Mark. And Marlon rolls with this around the countryside. Glad to see you in here this evening. And the one thing about technicians and all this technology is the magic of you guys is you make it look so easy.
Thank you.
Yes, well, let's tell them how this works, shall we? I'll step down.
Okay.
And you can get ready. What happens is video is shot out in the field, and then it's brought in here to Marlon. He puts it into his equipment, and the dish up here on top beams it up 22,500 miles into the air to a stationary satellite over Kansas City, Missouri. Then that video is beamed back down to an antenna here in our parking lot. But there's a slight delay, even though this travels at the speed of light. So tell me, where do I look better? Here live or here as I come back down from the satellite? Well, I'm not sure. Now you can't even see a thing, and sometimes that's the magic of live TV, because I'm going to come up before your very eyes in just a moment as I come back down, making a 45,000-mile journey from Earth to the satellite and back down again. Marlon, you pulled it off. Great going. Well, they do make it look easy, actually. So where do I look better, here or there? Don't even tell me. Well, there's a lot of magic, and you know who has some of it cornered in one side part of the studio? Joe DiNardo. We are going to show you his weather magic in just a moment.
You can't respond to tomorrow's challenges with yesterday's ideas. You need the newest technology and the best way of using it. At Price Waterhouse, we're applying the latest software innovations to our audit practice, making everything from communications to consolidations keep pace with your needs today and tomorrow.
Audit practice support systems. Just one reason why we say expect more from Price Waterhouse.
This isn't a commercial for the car. It's a commercial for the fuel. Exxon 93 Supreme. Fuel so sophisticated, it eliminates hesitation in virtually every engine on the road today. Exxon 93 Supreme with unsurpassed cleaning power. Precision equipment for precision engines. Just turn the key.
Joe DiNardo. Well, we told you he makes weather magic. He's the guy that you turn to when you want to find out whether or not it's going to rain on your parade or be sunny for your picnic. And what do we say around here, Joe? Joe said it would. What did you say, Bill Hillgrove? I don't even think we want to find out. Well, let's go to Joe and find out more about the magic it takes to bring you his weathercasts.
Okay, Ann, thanks very much. Don't ever listen to Hillgrove. This is the way we used to do it. We still have Moosonee James Bay on here, but this was a magnetic board, and before the air, we'd go ahead and put the temperatures around the area, put low-pressure centers where they belong, high-pressure centers where they belong. We'd even draw fronts on here with this flow pen, and when things got bad and there were hurricanes, before we went on the air, they were magnetic. We'd throw them on, they'd stick. We'd even go over here to the satellite photograph, and we'd look at an old satellite picture here, and with the satellites we could outline the tri-state area and then use our ever-famous pointer. But that's the way we used to do it. It's different now. And this is what we have to work with today. This is the Weather Center, or as some people like to call it here in the building, the Weather Kingdom. We've come quite a way from the early days when all the information came in over telephone lines, old teletype machines. Today, we get it over satellite. We plot our own maps. We do it and analyze it via a very lovely paint box here, another state-of-the-art type situation where I draw all the maps with an electronic pen. And now, everything is done by computers, and we store each map that we plot, analyze, and draw into the computer like pages of a book. We start this 3 hours before we go on the air at 6 o'clock or 11 o'clock news, and then when we do go on the air, this is what you see. There, from the Great Lakes right on west into the plains, the northern plains, the central plains, the Pacific Northwest. Sunshine that's warming up nicely out there. But what you don't realize, and you realize now, is I'm standing in front of a blank blue board. This is what we call a news mat, or a chroma key. And when I'm pointing to this board, you see me pointing to a state, or a symbol, or an ocean, or a Great Lakes region. The way I know where Chicago is, if I look to my right, I see myself and I see what you see at home. I know where I am, I know where to point. So that's how we do it. It's magic. At least that's what they tell me.
Well, he's going to have to give us great forecasts because now he's given away all of his secrets. I'd like to introduce you to a lady many of you remember, Eleanor Shano, who was the first weather girl. Did they really call you that?
Well, and that's all that women were allowed to do back in those days. There were 3 roles that women played in television 30 years ago. You could do a kid's show, you could do a woman's show, or you could be a weather girl. And I was hired as the weather girl. And when I see all this high technology now, I realize, first of all, it was black and white. And my set had little sticky, high-pressure systems, low-pressure systems, a few little clouds, and some numbers, and that was it.
You transitioned from that into becoming the first female street reporter.
Well, I wanted desperately to get into news, and again, it wasn't prejudice or discrimination as much as management just did not believe that women could be a reporter. And I finally convinced them that I should work in the newsroom as a news reporter. So they gave me all these fluff stories and feature stories until I finally went out one day and interviewed a rape victim in the ladies' room at the Wilkinsburg Police Station with 15 male reporters out in the hall trying to get the interview. And that convinced them, and that was the beginning of women doing hard news reporting in Pittsburgh.
What a story that is. Well, we're so glad you could join us this evening. Joe?
All right, thank you, Ann and Eleanor. You know, 3 people played very important roles in people's lives here, especially young people's lives, and maybe you were even on one of their shows. Well, that's coming up, so stay with us.
Introducing Pepsi and Pears. Now 2 delicious medium cheese pan pizzas and a refreshing 6-pack of Pepsi. Just $11.99.
Making it hot, making it twice. Get fast and bumping the price.
Now, America's favorite pizza is making a great deal. Pepsi and pears, just $11.99. Add toppings, $1.29 each, covers both.
Pizza Hut, making it great.
It's hard to tell the difference between Heinz Homestyle gravy and your homemade.
You can't fool my Theodore.
We made it with real beef and beef juices, just the way you do.
He's a very discerning child.
We even seasoned and simmered and stirred it till it was like your own homemade.
Nothing's quite like Grandma's. Right, Theodore?
Yeah, this doesn't have any lumps.
Heinz Homestyle gravy, so close to homemade.
What do kids know?
You know, it's nice to be remembered.
I remember hearing about Skouras about 20 years ago from a friend.
Why, we've been recommending that our customers go to Tony Skuro for over 25 years for transmission work.
The fellows are very courteous, the price is right, and I'm well satisfied. Yes, I would recommend Skouras to all my friends. And I guess I can say that if I had another transmission problem, I'd call Tony. Thanks, folks. I'm just too modest to say it myself.
Citibank has this 800 number you can call. Well, I couldn't believe it when they called me.
I noticed unusually heavy activity on her Citibank MasterCard. I suspected someone got one of her carbons and was charging on her card fraudulently.
He told me I wasn't responsible for those charges. While he was talking, I thought, am I glad my MasterCard is with Citibank? With any other bank, chances are I'd be the one doing the talking.
Not just MasterCard, Citibank MasterCard.
So follow along and sing them the song.
Perhaps the most important and greatest impact that television has offered us through the years has been the positive effect that it has left on our children. In the early 60s, children were mesmerized by Ricky Wirtz and her golden retriever, Copper. For the fortunate ones selected to be part of her shows, it was a bonus to cross over her magic bridge. Ricky and Copper covered the very young audience in the morning, while the school-aged kids hurried home to catch Paul Shannon and his Adventure Time. In fact, many youngsters grew up under Paul's TV tutelage because his show lasted for 17 years. In 1975, Paul Shannon aired this, his last Adventure Time show.
To Paul Shannon, a great guy from the people of Pittsburgh, and I was delighted to sign it. And if you turn it over, on the reverse side, inside there is a gold key.
Oh, key. That's great. It's the first time I ever have a key to my own city.
Very much.
Thank you,
Nancy. Thank you. His mayor, Pete Flaherty, and Nancy, his wife.
Thanks for the memories. The carnivals sure were fun. You made us #1. You did it all, so have a ball. But Paul, before you run, for you, Paul, there's a mug for you.
Thank you very much, honey.
And this
one
Girl
for your
Scouts.
wife.
We all thank you so much. Come on in. We got a lot of friends from Channel 4. Come on in, you guys. Thank you, Paul.
You make me feel so young. In the early 60s, Condition Friends were Hank Stoll creations, and they probably had as many adults watching as they did young viewers.
I'm such a happy individual.
The moment that you speak, I want to go play hide and seek.
I want to go and bounce the moon just like a toy balloon.
Boys and girls, today I'd like to tell you a very interesting story.
Janie Vance Bram hosted Romper Room until her death in 1969. Yesterday's children still remember their favorite shows.
That was the great thing about it, is everyone could be a star for one day.
One of my fond memories would be the picture board.
The rope that Nosmo King was always pulling on.
Nosmo King, I think, gets too much billing. I have to say that right now.
I remember the magic sword.
They used to have a rocket that they sent letters to Santa Claus.
I hoped it had my letter in it.
I had dreams about that thing.
I don't think I'd change a thing. I think I would do the Adventure Time show probably about the same way he did.
And now, Paul Shannon joins us this evening, flanked by Ricky Wirtz and Jan Bona from Romper Room. Paul, Are you bemused by your following today with baby boomers?
I never cease to be amazed because practically everyone that I met years ago, which their ages were 7, 8, 6, 5, 4, and now they're grown up and they have children of their own. But they all say, as grown-ups, thanks for making our childhood, growing up years, happy ones. And this gives me a lot of pleasure because it's almost like meeting old friends that you haven't seen for years, but yet I know them because we speak the same language.
And do they come up to you on the street?
Yes. Not only in Pittsburgh, but in Florida, in California, and once in the Colosseum in Rome.
That's neat. That's because you made memories for them. Ricky, I understand that once you sang a commercial in a negligee on a mattress?
Well, actually...
Was Copper singing with you?
No, I was alone. This was before Copper on television. I did the weather, and I was what was called the Sealy Time Girl. And Bobby Cardillo played the piano, and I would sing the weather. I didn't have stickums like Eleanor. I just would sing, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. And Bobby Cardillo would go, Sealy Time Girl. And I'd crawl into bed, and I wore these negligees. But my husband was the director, and he said, you can never be sexy if you think you're sexy. So you have to learn to walk and pretend you're not wearing these gorgeous negligees. Well, women know what you feel like with a negligee. I mean, you really feel good. So what I had to do was wear shorts, Argyle socks, and loafers. And that's what was on underneath it. And the crew always said the last show, they were going to show the world what I was like from the knees down. And they almost did. And I was lying on the bed, and they started pulling the covers down, and they were going to show everybody my Argyle socks, and the pillow on the bed was going, and everybody wanted to know why my pillow was going on that last shot. But that was the last show I ever did. It was fun.
And now they know. Let's go over here to Miss Jan. What do you think? Would Romper Room play today? When you see a lot of the children's programming today, are you amazed at the transition that the programming has made?
Yes, but I do think Romper Room would go today because I meet people in my travels. My life today is in travel. And I'm always running into people who saw Romper Room, who loved it, and say it's a shame there aren't more children's shows, especially live things today, like we once had. But listen, Paul, I met them in Acapulco one day at lunch. I met them in Las Vegas one time.
And how old were they?
Young.
Young, very young.
Very young. But, you know, when you're in... I had my children in Vegas watching the Osmonds, and a little girl ran up to the table who had been on Romper Room School. And of course, I had to act very prim and proper the rest of the night. Most of the stories are great. We could go on forever. It was a marvelous job.
Well, and that's why we're going to keep you here this evening. We are going to take a break, though, right now. We're going to come right back in just a moment.
Can win $10,000 in cold cash in the Pepsi Hometown Payday. Pick up a specially marked bottle of any Pepsi-Cola product and twist off the cap. Instantly win up to $10,000, free groceries or Pepsi and fries at Burger King. But don't keep the winnings bottled up. There are over $200,000 just waiting to be uncapped in Western Pennsylvania's Pepsi Hometown Payday, where winning is as close as an ice-cold bottle of Pepsi.
How can many supermarkets afford low-price specials? Easy. When they put an item on special, they keep other prices higher to make up the difference. Drop the price of oranges, keep the price of coffee high. Lower cola, keep eggs high. At Giant Eagle, we don't have specials, just absolute minimum prices on every item every day. So our low prices stay low, and so does your total food bill. Giant Eagle, if you're not paying the absolute minimum price, you're paying too much.
Blast off the savings during Dream Waterbed's fabulous furniture sale. Save on the West Ridge Bed and Bedroom Suite, only $977. And the Hickory Valley Poster Bed and Suite, just $10.99. The Portofino Black Lacquer Bed and Suite is now just $12.99. Save over 25% on fabulous furniture at all 14 Dream Waterbeds locations. The values are out of this world.
At Long John Silver's, you get the best fish fillets at a price you like to pay.
We want to see you have fish you cut above, special batter dipped at a price you'll love.
It's our Fish and More dinner for just $2.99. 2 crunchy light fillets in our special batter. But it's only $2.99 for a limited time. So hurry in for Fish and More for less.
Long John Silver's.
Fish and More, $2.99.
We want to see you happy.
Well, we're almost at the end, but actually the beginning. It's really a pleasure for me to introduce to you the gentleman that started it all. This man next to me on my left is Franklin C. Snyder. He brought this station on the air. He was the first general manager. He went on to become the CEO of the broadcast division of the Hearst Corporation, and he's a trustee at this time with Hearst Corporation. Mr. Snyder, welcome. This must be a gratifying evening.
Yes, it is, Joe, and it's been a very interesting evening because seeing all these folks come back here and do these shows, bits of these shows from way, way back, brings me up to the moment today, and I wish we were doing the same thing that we were doing then.
Well, you know, we can always start another one and go from there.
I'm afraid it wouldn't go as well as it did then.
Well, Mr. Snyder, thank you so much for being with us this evening. This is the man that started it all.
It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And sitting next to me is the current Vice President and General Manager, Jim Hefner. Mr. Snyder's laid down the gauntlet here. He has given you tradition, delivered it to your doorstep. Where do we go from here?
Lynn, you and I are both relatively new here. We have a lot to live up to. Well, look at all these programs that we're doing. We got to get busy. It's going to be tough.
You have the mandate here.
Yeah, that's right. We do. We do.
And now the next gentleman we'd like to introduce to you, he's the big boss not over us right now here in Pittsburgh, but he's in New York. But he's the man that's the Chief Executive Officer of the Hearst Broadcast Division now, and he's in charge of all the radio and television stations. A man who hired me, John G. Conomikes. Hello, Mr. Conomikes.
Hi, Joe. Everyone makes a mistake once in a while. I want to tell one little story. I enjoyed watching all the shots of you back in that weather set and all this great expensive equipment that Mr. Hefner was nice enough to buy for you. And I remember the first Christmas after I hired you that I sent you a Christmas present. If you remember what that was, to help you do the weather. It was a $1.99 weather game with a little spinner on it. And I think your weather forecasts were just as good then as they are today.
Well, Mr. Conomikes, thank you very much for those praising words. I mean, I didn't know this was a DiNardo roast, but this is the top man now.
Mr. DiNardo, I'm going to help you out by standing up here.
That's all right. I don't need any help with him. We can go back and forth. It's no problem. But we had a great party here this evening, didn't we? Did everyone enjoy themselves tonight?
Good.
All right.
You know what the hit song was this time back in 1958?
What?
Personality. Can you hum a few bars?
If I do, they're liable to tune us out. I don't think I better hum any bars. But you want me to go ahead and play it with?
I'd say I think they're ready, waiting for you.
Go with personality. That's don't sing. See, you're dying up there. They told me not to sing. But you know, before we get to all our personalities that are here tonight, we want to really thank everyone for coming to our celebration tonight, and for our 30-year employees for being here with us tonight, and to all our friends. Thanks very much.
That's right. And as we say goodbye to you, watch the credits, because we're going to show you some of those infamous or famous TV bloopers. Ever make one?
On occasion.
Okay.
Stay with us.
Long for Action News.
Walk with personality, talk with personality, smile with personality, charm with personality, love with personality, and flush out a red big.
Thank you. And like we say in television, I hope you do too.
3, 2, 1.
2, 1, 8.
3, 2, 1,
1, 8.
3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Wait, take it. Oh, 3, 2, 1. All right. 3, 2, 1.
Ann Devlin's wardrobe provided by Kaufman's through the personal shopping service.
What is wrong with your mouth, Sally? I can't get it down. Well, one more time. Why can't I talk? What is wrong with me?
Reporter abuse. It can happen in your community. It's happening now.
What